A few weeks ago, an excellent question was asked in the comments section of a video by Unknown1, specifically, were any Gray Jedi killed during Order 66? This got me thinking about what exactly happened to the Gray Jedi both during and after Order 66, and what their status might have been under the Empire relative to the Jedi Order. In this video expose, we'll look at this question and break down how Gray Jedi were treated during Sidious's instructions to the clone troopers to execute Order 66, and also how Gray Jedi unaffiliated with the main Jedi Order were treated by the Empire. We'll look at this topic in terms of 3 varying levels of Gray Jedi. First, Jedi who were part of the Jedi Order but were given a title of Gray due to their disagreements with the Jedi High Council. Second, renegade or dissident groups that, while still seen as Jedi, differed greatly from the main order in regard to their views related to the Force. And lastly, we'll look at Gray Jedi who were not only completely unaffiliated with the main Jedi Order, but received their designation of Gray due to their acceptance of both the light and dark sides. We'll start with the easiest level, those Jedi who were completely part of the Jedi Order, but seen as Gray simply because of their distance from the High Council. An example of such a Jedi was Qui-Gon Jinn, typically seen as a good representation of your standard Jedi by fans of the franchise. I don't think it's very controversial to state that there's no question these Gray Jedi were targeted by Order 66. Had Qui-Gon lived to the end of the Clone War, he would have certainly been attacked by the Republic's clone troopers. These Gray Jedi were full-fledged members of the Jedi Order, earning its ranks and practicing its customs. And more importantly, as we'll see, despite their disagreements with the High Council, they were still warriors of the light, acting as guardians of peace and justice. Viewed another way, they were exactly what Darth Sidious sought to remove from the galaxy through Order 66. Therefore, we can confidently say that Jedi who obtained the title of Gray for their hostilities with the Jedi High Council were victims of Order 66 and afterwards. It gets much more interesting when we get to our second level of Gray Jedi. Those that were still seen as Jedi, but who had their own individual splinter denominations and differed radically from the main doctrines of the Jedi Order. A great example of this type of Gray Jedi was the Gray Paladins, and specifically, the female Twi'lek Larkin Tarak. The Gray Paladins were a sect of Force users who differed from the Jedi Order in that they practiced minimal use and dependence upon the Force, almost to an extreme. Not only that, but they advocated a more militaristic philosophy, accepting the use of weapons other than the lightsaber, such as blasters, a doctrine rejected by the main Jedi Order. However, despite the fact that they were a sect separate from the Jedi and had an extremely different approach to the Force, we know that the Gray Paladins were attacked along with the Jedi during Order 66. Unfortunately for these Gray Jedi, the Paladins had their headquarters within the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. Therefore, when Vader and the 501st attacked the temple during Operation Nightfall, the Gray Paladins were targeted as part of Order 66, with the survivors forced to flee the temple and scatter throughout the galaxy. Although I couldn't find a name to answer Unknown1's question specifically, Larkin Tarak was only one of many targeted, and given the way the temple was decimated, I think we can safely assume that Gray Paladins were killed during Order 66, and the survivors hunted by the Empire. And finally, the most interesting level of Gray Jedi is our third and final one. Gray Jedi that, unlike the Gray Paladins, weren't at all affiliated with the Jedi Order, and who uniquely walked the line between the light and dark. Was there even such an organization of Force users in existence, either at the time of Order 66 or in its aftermath? And if so, how were its members viewed by the Empire? Fortunately, there was such a Gray Jedi organization that we can look at, known as the Gen Sarai. We've talked about the Gen Sarai before, but just to very briefly recap, it was an order of Force users that materialized during the Clone Wars through its founder Nikos Tyrus, a Jedi Knight. During the war, Tyrus found an ancient Sith artifact belonging to a Sith follower of the legendary Exar Kun. The manuscript contained philosophical writings, tales of the exile of the Dark Jedi and subsequent birth of the Sith, and also significant outlines of Sith lore. Ultimately, Tyrus would turn his back on the Jedi and create an organization for his followers known as the Gensarai, meaning the hidden followers of truth in ancient Sith. Tyrus would adopt a philosophy that combined both Sith and Jedi teachings, accepting both the light and dark. Eventually, the Jedi Order would find out about the Gensarai and hunt them down, killing Tyrus and 2 of his followers, believing they eradicated the Order. But there were more, hiding themselves from the Jedi through the Force, and when the Jedi departed, the wife of one of Tyrus's followers took the title of Sarai Kar for herself, and continued on the Order's tradition, growing its numbers. Placing them squarely in the category of Gray Jedi, they continued to walk the line between light and dark, and also developed a strong hatred of the Jedi Order. Although we unfortunately can't know what would have happened to the Gensarai during Order 66, we do know what their fate was within its aftermath. When the Gensarai discovered that their Jedi enemy was completely annihilated, they rejoiced, believing that they were now free to emerge from their hiding and practice their philosophy in peace. In fact, so elated that the Empire had risen to destroy the Jedi, the son of the Gensarai's leader sought out Darth Vader himself to join him as a Jedi hunter. Only he would soon find out how Gray Jedi were treated in the aftermath of Order 66. Approaching Vader, the Sith Lord immediately sensed only the light within the boy, and Vader cut him down just as he would any member of the Jedi Order. Even more, with the Gensarai now having exposed its existence to the Empire, Inquisitors and Imperial Jedi hunters were sent to the homeworld of the Gensarai to eradicate them. Despite the fact that they had dark side influences on their practices and were completely unaffiliated with the Jedi, being a true Grey organization, the Gensarai had no place within the Galactic Empire. Just like those who simply disagreed with the High Council and those within the Grey Paladins, the Gray Jedi of the Gensarai were targeted following Order 66. Not too unsurprisingly, Sidious would not tolerate the existence of any Grey Jedi. As seen in the examples of Jedi similar to Qui-Gon Jinn, the Grey Paladins, and the Gensarai, there was no place for the light side of the Force in Sidious's New Order. And therefore, these Grey Jedi were viciously attacked by the Empire, both during and after Order 66. So there we have it, examples of Grey Jedi being targeted directly by Order 66 and in its immediate aftermath, with assumptions that many were killed. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions? Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. Or perhaps follow us on Twitter @SW Reading Club for updates regarding the channel. Or support the channel through Patreon for access to exclusive rewards and discussions. If not for me... For Larenth Tarak.